Sarah Morris, she's our correspondent in Madrid. She's on the line now. Sarah, when we spoke yesterday, it seemed there were some pretty chaotic scenes in Ceuta. Have things calmed a little today, in your knowledge?
They certainly have calmed down. Those chaotic and emotional scenes are no longer happening. Spaniards are still getting their head round the number of under 18-year-olds, for instance, including babies that came in the last few hours. There are dozens of Moroccans or people waiting in Morocco on the Moroccan side of the border, seeing if they can find an opportunity to come over the border into Ceuta. But the border controls seem to be back up and in place. The Interior Ministry is now talking about 5,600 people having been returned who were illegal immigrants, of an estimated 8,000 people who came in over the last 24 hours. The government now has the problem of addressing what happens to those children and under 18-year-olds. An estimated 2,000 people. They are being held in Ceuta, in some cases in warehouses. And the Minister for Social Rights is saying that she will be meeting with the autonomous regions throughout Spain to ask how those children can be looked after, because legally they cannot be returned to Morocco. A much calmer atmosphere, and the government has been talking over the last few hours about the fact that Morocco is a friend and ally, but it must complete its duty of mutual enforcement of borders.
Now, Sarah, we know some of these tensions between Morocco and Spain have been soaring recently, in part apparently because of the treatment by Spain of an individual from the Polisario Front. That is a group in the Western Sahara region. We understand he's now been summoned to court in Spain. Tell us a little bit about this story and how this fits into what's happening in Ceuta.
That's right. That the chaos caused over the last 24 hours at that border was due to Morocco being angry that that activist had been given hospital treatment at a hospital in northern Spain. That man is Ibrahim Ghali. He's a 71-year-old. He is being treated, is reported, for COVID and for breathing problems linked to cancer. Now, the latest news is that he is facing two charges and will be appearing, or is summoned to appear at least, on June the 1st at the High Court in Madrid. Those charges have been brought by an activist, a Western Sahara activist, and by a human rights organisation, and they are related to genocide, murder, terrorism, torture and disappearances. Ghali is considered in Spain to be a controversial figure, and the government was reported to have been divided about whether he could receive treatment in Spain. The allegations against him were apparently reactivated when activists and human rights organisations found he was being treated at a hospital under a false name and using an Algerian passport, summoned to appear, but at the moment has not signed that summons, and we don't know whether he will decide to appear in court, or whether he will argue and potentially prove that he is unfit medically to make that court appearance.
Sarah Morris for us there in Madrid. Thank you very much indeed for your reporting.